So I read this book once and it was titled Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. It made me wonder, why is it that leaders who really want to value communication, really want to connect with the people they're working with, why do they struggle so much? Hi, I'm Bruce Spurlock, a physician and healthcare leader committed to helping decision makers navigate change with clarity. On Viral Healthcare, we explored the trends spreading across healthcare and what it will take to implement them wisely and sustainably. So today's reflection is about the topic we discussed on Tuesday related to communicating and effectively communicating in the era of a new innovation, a new change, a new platform, a new idea that you have for where you want your organization to go. And we learned several things during that podcast that I want to frame today in a series of four different questions. And the first question I want to ask is, why are so many companies, so many healthcare organizations solution first companies? What is it about that forces or promotes or incentivizes us to be examining solutions when we need to be understanding if the solutions match the problem or how our problem works or whether the problem is our problem or everybody else's problem. We've talked on this on previous reflections and episodes, and this idea that solution first nature also comes out in communication. It's interesting. People talk about what they're doing, what it's going to mean, why it's going to be important to them for this new idea, this new gadget, this new way of conducting work and caring for patients. However, we're doing a new innovation, we spend time talking about the innovation itself instead of backing up and talking about what we learned about a few episodes ago, this notion of really understanding our problems. What is the problem we're trying to solve? Why now? Why this solution? Why does it make sense for our organization? The why? Understanding sort of the nature of the issue, more likely to get people to participate than it is the great new flashy shiny new object that people are talking about. And it's no wonder that some of the people in our staff, the people at the front lines, people providing the care or providing the services to the public that our company works for, don't really trust us when we have those kinds of issues. So that's question number one. Why are so many companies solution first company? Second question is, why are we as leaders so often afraid of failure? I mean, I get some of the basics, right? You don't want your organization to go through some catastrophic type activity, but failure in and of itself is not necessarily bad. In fact, everybody fails. We all fail. And if we don't really understand this failure idea, and if we don't actually anticipate, we'll never become a learning organization. So if we promote the nature of us as a learning organization, then we say failure is to be expected, mitigated for sure. We don't want it to cause a ripple effect and cascading kinds of things that can lead to harmful activities. But what is it about that makes us so fearful? This idea of failure. And it's amazing because most of the time, it's really about learning and adapting and moving forward. That really creates a resilient organization and builds trust within your organization. So the third question I want to understand is, why are we people who want to innovate and implement new innovations always in sales mode, promoting this new idea instead of being about the engagement that we need to have people successful? What is it about this sales mode? And I think people have this mistaken identity that we have to sell, influence, convince. And really, it's kind of missing the point that what they're really trying to say is, do they understand me? Does it make sense? Is it right for our time? Rather than, telling us all the great features, all the great benefits. I mean, it's just amazing how most people go into the old school sales mode. And if you talk with really elite salespeople in marketing and in other fields, it's more about understanding the problem, understanding the organization, rather than giving them something that may or may not match for them. So we need to think about, how do we engage the front lines? How do we engage mid-level management? How do we engage them in this issue that we're trying to address, this problem? And how do we engage them authentically so that they know they can trust us to be able to do that? Okay, the fourth and final question is, why do we promote rather than build trust? What is it about us trying to talk about how great we are as an organization, especially true when we think about things like communicating with our communities or directly with patients or members, the people that ultimately get the impact of things in healthcare. Why is it we're talking about our successes, our track record, all the great things we're doing, rather than saying, what I really need to understand is how I can meet your needs? What's the most important part of this, what we do and how we deliver it to our community? Instead of I always know, it's like I want to learn. It goes back to that sort of learning nature that we're afraid of with failure. If we're talking with our communities, it becomes about them rather than us. And the way to build trust is to make it about them. And when you go back to that book I was reading about everybody communicates, few connect, the real issue is it's not all about you. It's amazing. It's not all about your organization. It's trying to figure out where does your organization fit in? How does it serve? And that seems to be this really mind shift is going from promotion to service oriented. So those are the 4 questions that I'm still pondering in my head. Hopefully you're dealing with them. You'll think about them too, reflect on them, find out what's right for your organization. How can we build trust? How can we build engagement? How can we communicate and really, really connect with somebody? Now, next week, we're going to actually look at a fun, popular trend that really has very little to do with healthcare, except healthcare tries to replicate it in many, many ways. So that'll be fun next Tuesday at our podcast and our live LinkedIn. Join us then. If you like this topic, please share it with somebody who's going through a change process themselves and help them navigate. And if you like this, subscribe on your podcast, whichever one you like, to Viral Healthcare. Until the next time, I'm Bruce Spurlock.